It was the famous Malian Professor Hampati Ba who once said that the passing of an old man or woman in Africa is the equivalent of the burning of a library. The reason is simply that, unlike what happens in other societies, in Africa we have not rigorously instituted the culture of writing up and recording our experiences, especially the remarkable efforts that were put in the hard labor of building our institutions and society by our outstanding elders. So when the words of our national anthem say, the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain, the corollary to that is to record very faithfully those labors as words of wisdom, pages of heroism, and sources of inspiration for the younger and upcoming generations. This has become particularly imperative because our country's population today has surpassed 211 million, while the median age is 18.9 years. This is a very young country indeed. That is why written record of the labors of our heroes has become ever more urgent. I'm very delighted that we have gathered today for the launch of the autobiography of a most distinguished Nigerian patriot, Emeritus Professor Jidda Mamadi Gassama, who, as the book noted, is an international scientist, a scholar, a teacher, and every university administrator. The other point of note is that Professor Emeritus Gassama is an accomplished son of Margida. And for us from Borno State, that is testimony to the different ethnic and cultural streams that water the remarkable history of our dear state, helping us to be a very important component of the rich mother that is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We must thank Professor Emeritus Gassama that at the age of 80 years, he was able to find his space, time, and master the willpower to write the autobiography that we have all gathered today to launch. It will be an important purchase. It will be a tour de force in the lifetime of 80 years and counting, which will allow us to catch a glimpse of the more idyllic settings of life in the colonial settings of the years that he was born and came into consciousness as a young boy, still able to listen to the tales of the people of Margila, the evolutionary patterns of their worldview, the certainties of the old cultures, and is becoming part of the trailblazing realities which education was beginning to wrought in the lives of our people, as well as the relentless march of modernity. It is therefore no surprise that the book we have gathered to learn has been described as being beyond an autobiography, but also a wonderful resource material on the culture and language of the Margi people. By telling the story of his very rich and eventful life, we are being offered that privilege of a stroll on the shores of history, which obviously means a lot to our dear Emeritus Professor Gassama. That was signposted with the book, also asserting that one of the reasons for doing the autobiography was a deliberate step of documenting the linguistic code and way of life of his people as his contribution to the preservation of the Margi culture. Two issues are important here. The first is that he is the holder of the traditional title of Shetima Ilwe of Borno. That means that there are different traditional and cultural responsibilities that he carries. And secondly, we are living in the 21st century when many languages and cultures that they convey face the danger of extinction, and the world becomes increasingly urbanized and very young. Today, for example, 52% of the Nigerian population now lives in urban areas. Many of these are very young and have or are losing connection to our old cultural values. This book is therefore not a surprise in that respect. The point was similarly underscored by Professor Suleiman Elias Mokoro's preface to the book. For those of us that belong to the minority ethnic groups, we have to resist the corrosive cultural effects of the bigger neighborhood. It's sad that a lot of our Maltese sons and daughters that are coming up are not very fluent in the mother tongue. But great attribute should be given to the Shuar Arabs. One of the wives of His Excellency Dr. Adamu Ahmadu Mahaku is a Kanuri lady from Borno, born of a Shuar Arab mother. Well, the kids of His Excellency speak Shuar Arabic better than Hausa. Nigeria will forever be grateful for the work that Professor Gassama did as a scientist and university administrator. The book gave an impressive outline of his growth from the Ahmadu Bello University area to the University of Maiduguri, and not to forget other important assignments in other universities. He was also the Premier Pro-Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria. We are particularly lucky and remain grateful that during his tenure as Vice Chancellor of the University of Maiduguri, he was able to provide the leadership for the establishment of 2 centers of excellence at the university. These are the Center for Arid Studies and the Biotechnology Center. These will continue to serve our country and humanity into the future. I would like to thank Emeritus Professor for his book with an equally very instructive title, Standing for Truth with Courage. I welcome you all to the presentation of this book. All our eminent personalities, the Chief of Staff, Mr. President, who in spite of his very tight schedule, reserved the time to be with us. Believe me, this will be permanently ingrained in the minds of every son and daughter of Borno here for the respect we are according our elder statesman.
This occasion has indeed given at least 3 of us here to say a very big thank you to you all. I still remember when nostalgia, the day when Professor Gassama sent the Senate President, Dr. Ahmad Ibrahim Lawan, my humble self, and Mr. Kenneth Bua to Silso College for our postgraduate programs. We say a big thank you to you, sir. Standing for truth with courage. The autobiographical narrative Standing for Truth with Courage chronicles the life and times of a young Margi boy who rose to become an icon of sound scholarship and selfless service to God and humanity. The greater part of the narrative, which centers on the author's tortuous yet fruitful journey in pursuit of education, flows seamlessly from junior primary school in his hometown Lassa in Borno State, the then underdeveloped Sahel region of Nigeria, to senior primary school Garagida, to Gindri Boys Secondary School in Plateau State, then to the glamorous cities in America, before he terminated in New York University, where he bagged his doctorate degree. Every line in this narrative reverberates with courage, the unflinching stand for truth, even when it hurts. The autobiography is a lucid picture from a text audience on a tour from the root of the narrator, an ordinary African child, through his education, family life, work experiences, to the point that he became a renowned erudite professor emeritus, Jidda Mahmoud Gassama, who later became a deputy vice chancellor, a vice chancellor of 2 different prestigious universities in Nigeria, a pro-chancellor of a university, and many other notable positions within and outside the academia. This vivid and detailed chronicle of the life of this worthy scholar and nationalist thus serves as a reference material for Nigerian history, a reference material for building strong and enduring relationships, ideal family life, and a resource for developing leadership and administrative principles. An autobiographical narrative is a story of a man told by himself. Oftentimes, the author considers it worthwhile to tell his story when he has been able to achieve greatness or a major feat in life. Thus, some critics consider autobiographical writings propagandist in nature, and the author often has to doctor the story to reflect the purpose or ideology he wants to sell to the public. However, this book comes out differently, as the author presents an unbiased account of his life, his dealings with other persons and events in Nigerian history, without any obvious or subtle attempt to manipulate his identity and history in order to appear impeccable. In this narrative, the author reflects his fears and struggles, his gains and losses. This allows the reader to judge his actions. At the end, one can harvest lessons from experiences of an octogenarian who has played significant role at critical points in the history and politics of post-independence Nigeria and in academia. The book is indeed divided into 6 parts, with a total of 14 chapters. The narrative, which also contains an epilogue and appendices, takes the reader through a mental and imaginary tour through the life of a living legend. The photograph in the plates and the appendices does not only serve to authenticate the narrative, they also imbue the characters and events with life. The lucid and easy-flowing language usage encapsulates the exact nuisance of the real-life experiences of not just this great man, but those of other people he met in the course of his journey. As one reads the narrative, the feeling evokes can be likened to that of watching an epic movie of a hero. Part 1, entitled My Route in Margilan, comprises 2 chapters. The author in this part takes the audience into legendary Lassa dynasty, into the flora and fauna of his land of nativity, and into the culture and mores of the Margi people in Borno State. The narrator in simple language introduces the intricate and subtle complex mapping of African family roots and culture without confusing or boring the reader. The book stands as a historical artifact for not just Margi people, but the people who love history. In the second part of this book, the narrator retells the story of his early childhood education beginning from Lassa. The significant roles and members of Lassa family and the community played in helping him to start the journey into formal education was meticulously explained, thereby reflecting the rich African culture of communal commitments into life. The narrator also weaves into the story of various aspects of the value, culture, and practices in the community, which include hard work, traditional herbs and medicine, witchcrafts, etc. This part also reflects on the educational system in the pre- and post-independence period in Nigeria, which produced great scholars who over the time have come to stand as pillars in academia and the economy at large. The keen and awe-inspiring memory of the narrator is evidenced again in chapter 4, where he presented a vivid portrayal of his life in the famous Gabriel Boys Secondary School in Plateau State, where the lives of boys were shaped through discipline and hard work to become great pillars in the nation. The author's ability to recount the details and archive documents such as school timetable as far back as the 1950s, the names of classmates portrays his value for education and his ability to maintain relationships. Apart from Margi people, this group also serves as a resource material which will enrich libraries of members of the Old Boys Association. Also worthy of note is in his recounting of his academic journey further to the USA in part 3, and in this profound appreciation of the people who play one role or the other in his pursuit of knowledge and scholarship, even in seemingly small ways. This sense of gratitude is one virtue that is lacking in this generation. It is humbling to a reminder of a man that he owes a lot to his humanity, if he has benefited from benevolence and sacrifices to others. His ability to remember the names of lecturers, names of people he met outside academia, names and details of dealings with fellow students is indeed remarkable. In part 4, the author retells the story of his additional giant stride in his academic pursuit when he gained admission for his postgraduate studies in Long Island University. This also coincided with the period of Nigeria's Civil War, 1967 to 1970. The author, in recollecting his journey through the postgraduate program in the USA, inadvertently recounted his involvement in the issues surrounding the Nigerian Civil War, where students in diaspora had to take sides to garner support for or against Nigeria. As the president of the New York State chapter of Nigerian Student Association in America, the narrator recounts one wondrous task he undertook and his courageous contributions towards influencing foreign opinion and support for the unity of Nigeria. The account about the participation of the students in diaspora as well as information on the stand of the government US with relation to the war is one that cannot easily be forgotten. This autobiography stands out as a reference material which should be found in the National Library as well as databases of the Nigerian military. It adds yet another significant and maybe neglected part of success story of the Nigerian army during the Civil War. Part 5 presents the story of the author's return to Nigeria after more than a decade sojourn in the United States of America. Upon his return, he had to take up an appointment as a lecturer in Ahmadu Bello University, and he also had to quickly start his own family. The narrative of university system in ABU Zaria evolves a kind of nostalgia for people who have been there at a point or the other as part of the prestigious university. Also, the narration of his marriage rites to his wife of blessed memory, whom he devotes a great portion of the session to eulogize, encapsulates the Margi cultural practices. Indeed, the Margi people should be grateful to their historical scientists, Son, for its veritable rich, resourceful documentary, which they can feel as an archive for their posterity. The unedited portrayal of peaceful family life he enjoyed with his wife of blessed memory, Dr. Elizabeth Gazawa, and 4 children reflects the building of a successful career life which started in a peaceful and successful family. From chapter 12, in part 5, the narrator takes the audience through his return to administrative experience in the University of Maiduguri. The section contains rich information, historical events in the University of Maiduguri in the 1970s. A lot of administrative tips can be gleaned from the narrator's academic administrative experiences as lecturer, professor, deputy vice chancellor, director Center for Horizon Studies, which he helped to establish for the university, acting vice chancellor, University of Port Harcourt, vice chancellor, University of Maiduguri. This chapter also presents a summary of the remarkable and laudable achievements of the narrator as vice chancellor of University of Maiduguri. In part 6, which the narrator entitles "In Service to My Country," the audience is invited to another journey through the experiences of the narrator's journey as Pro-Chancellor, National Open University of Lagos, National Open University of Nigeria in Lagos, and other national services. The epilogue, Nigeria in Summation, presents the reflection of the older statesman from his return to Nigeria after studies in USA in 1971 to the present situation in the country. He sums up his reflection by reiterating his philosophy and guiding principles. For me, I am deeply committed to serve my motherland, standing for the truth with courage, as I love my country, Nigeria. In overall, the life story of the living legend, Professor Emeritus Jide Mamadou Gassama, reverberates the thematic concerns of this narrative: truth, courage in service. Indeed, it takes courage for one to give a truthful account of his life. It takes courage to move from one relatively small community in Borno State to an uncommon heights he attained in his life. We thank the author for providing us with rich resource material in his history, leadership, and administration. On the latter side, we thank the author for that final piece on the background on the Lassa fever in Nigeria and the attempt to absolve Lassa people of being the source of the plague. Yes, many autobiographies exist, but this one, laced with documentary and pictorial evidences, is surely one with a difference. I invite you all to grab your copy today and go through this tour into the life and times of this living legend to gain nuggets of truth and wisdom from the web of his experiences in his life and his service to God and humanity. When you get a copy of the book, there are many aspects that are of interest naturally. For instance, the dedication. I noticed he deliberately dedicated his book to 4 people. His very dear wife, that he painfully lost, late Dr. Elizabeth Gatsama. And her younger brother is here, Ambassador Watsani Gatsama. I know what it meant. I was privileged. She taught me veterinary microbiology at the University of Maiduguri. And she was a commissioner in Borno. Some years after that, he painfully lost her. We remember her today. Thank you for dedicating this book to her. The others are his father, his late father, Makaram Mamadou Apabu, his mother, Uludeli Kwadu Mamadou, and finally, Dr. William Budiri, that died 2 years ago, his son-in-law, a medical doctor, I think a nephrologist, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I noticed something that came out very clear in this book, that it reveals the trajectory of a man around 3 areas. The first area has been adequately reviewed by the Professor Kundiri, that is his ethnocultural background and his remarkable ethno-religious outreach. Even taking a look at the caliber of people invited, tell me if there is any aspect of this country that is not present here, even from the introductions. That is Professor Gatsama for you. His faith in a united Nigeria, founded in his Church of the Brethren and Gimri missionary tutelage. It's very reflective. And finally, his enviable credentials as an intellectual, scientist, and university administrator extraordinary. He first was made acting vice chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt when there was crisis. And he restored sanity in that university. And the former head of state, Abacha, appointed him vice chancellor, University of Maiduguri. And we know what he did. We'll all be reminded. Now, from on the pages 49 and 50 and 69 and 70, there is that remarkable aspect. He listed names of his primary school classmates and Gimri secondary school classmates. You will see it in that book. Like the reviewer said, it reflects the fact that he has never forgotten his root. May that be the case with all of us. We build a better society when we don't forget our past. And I want to say this, that the other aspects have been adequately reflected. But let me put a quotation that I caught from him. It's in respect of a key aspect that is a challenge in Nigeria today. He says, Professor Ishaya Audu, the first VC of APU, provided a glimpse of what future of Nigeria's progress with sound education at higher level should be. The nationalistic discussion then were how best to move Nigeria forward after the destructive civil war. The serious proponents, such as Dr. Bala Usman of History Department, we can never forget him, were labeled as far leftist nationalists. But they were sincere in their propositions for Nigeria, which discouraged differences based on ethnic, religious, and regional sentiment. End of quote. For me, I respect Professor Gatsama for many things. One, that he's a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science, we know that it is an epic achievement in the sciences in our country. That he founded 2 centers that are flourishing today at the University of Maiduguri. It's rare that one person does that. He founded the Arid Zone Research Center and the Biotechnology Center. That is why he is a great scientist. Finally, I make this remark before I announce the presentation, which we will suspend and continue after the Chief of Staff to the President has left. Professor Gazama said to me, when we appointed him chairman of the TECFAN Research and Development Standing Committee, he's the current chairman. That is a committee that has gone far to do something that we believe, if we bequeath today to Nigeria, it will reflect what we are doing right to secure a knowledge economy for our country and be more competitive in all ramifications. He said to me, thank you for giving me perhaps my last assignment. I said, Oga, I did not hear that one. We are very proud of what this man is doing. And already his committee has recommended a national R&D foundation for Nigeria that will recognize knowledge, which is what the most competitive and the biggest economies, the most sustainable and resilient economies base their actions and all activities at the national level. My family and I will convey our sincere special greetings and appreciation to all, particularly those at the hard time that left their very, very crucial duties to come here. The book reviewer has done very well, but some of the things he said about me and about me is slightly off my head. But I will accept it and grow to meet the expectation. You know, even the aged still learn and grow. That's what many people don't know. We appreciate and we respect the honorable table. Today is a special day for us, a wonderful special day. Look at the very respected guests that we are. I told my children even on my eulogy day of burial, in Benari as good as this. What magic did the managers make to bring so many good people? We thank you. Chairman Joaba, Alada, and my family, I don't know what you did, but you have done very well. You remind me today, Kosa, of the old days. We were, I was so excited to see that one of the oldest to make his way from North Korea. That is a special honor. Now, in Guinea, there was Agri. Agri was red, Crava was blue, Crava was yellow, Livingstone green, that's still all that color today. But I must say the green is the best. In fact, I was house captain last year. Why would I want to write an autobiography? As Emeritus Professor Ayobanjo of the University of Ibadan feels that it is to tell of events which shaped the life of the author, and that work would also show some light on the social history that influenced society that he was part of. For me,
The book reviewer has done so excellently, I don't want to add anything. As far as I'm concerned, I just want to keep myself busy writing. So I'll continue to write. If it is not, it is something else. It is also for remembering details of special events. How take for example, riding on a tamed horse at the age of 6, flying to America for education without a scholarship, that's great. 4 years of a black African student in Kansas, Midwest, southern part of the United States in 1960. You must be courageous. Rat race in New York, as my chief of staff would understand that one. Contributed ABU to University of Maiduguri to Kodako, back again to Maiduguri. And then finally, the most interesting part, besides advocating for open distance learning, which I learned when I became a pro-chancellor and came to Lavi. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for being here. That's a very fantastic program. But still, the last experience, this last experience, I should have done it a long time ago, but there was no Bokoro then. It is Bokoro that has brought that one here. Currently at 80, I'm chairman of 165 plus members of Research and Development Standing Committee of Jetfund. The experience with the 13 working groups of that committee. Mr. Chairman has taught me at 80 that Nigeria has a future. If you see the kind of people, I see also every also sitting there, the thing that comes out of this man, a military man, you who are academic, you must be careful. It's fantastic. This is a strategic activity. Strategic establishment. If we can get that foundation, it's very, very important. Support that fund to get that foundation. Protocol demands I must stop. But let me say just one or two things. I will stop right now, Chief of Staff. Peter, there are no Margis here. Peter, what you in our well, I speak about 5 languages. Now, what I would suggest here, Chief of Staff, that I, as a minority tribe person, would speak Hausa because invariably in the role you must speak Hausa. I ask all the major tribes to also speak one major tribe, Hausa, Yoruba, or Igbo, and learn one additional language that is a minority tribe. There are 250 to pick from. Now, if we did that, in 100 years, we will evolve a language that will, every one of us take, then I will not say that. But you will take as your own language. That will unite us. Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigeria should not be divided on ethnic basis. Nigeria has such fantastic, with my 165 acres, I now feel so proud that Nigeria has some of the best brains in the world.
We're here to honor one of Nigeria's best and brightest. I have several affinities with Professor Gaitama. First, we are both academics, and we both also lectured at Ahmadu Bello University. Also, we are part of the governance of the universities in this country. Although I'm a bit jealous because with all the titles in academia that I've been privileged to hold, Vice Chancellor was not one of them, so he beat me to that. Some of my friends say, what's your problem with you are Pro-Chancellor, you are Chancellor of Kwara State University, so what's your problem? Actually, I don't have a problem, I just have admiration for the single Vice Chancellors. Also, Professor Gaitama and I are fellow honorees of something called Hallmark of Labor, which was a foundation really established to give honor to those who honor is due, those who have worked hard, who deserve the kind of recognition and the place they have in society. Professor Gaitama is one of them, and I'm glad to share this. Also, I have an affinity with Borno. The Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Sulu Gambari, one of his wives is married to the daughter of the Sheikh of Borno. As we know, Borno and the Sokoto Caliphate have a fairly difficult relationship, but I think the affinity is growing stronger and stronger because it's very clear that the best way to guarantee peace and security in Nigeria is the unity of all the peoples, all the traditions, and all the leadership of this country coming together. And the other affinity which is linked to this is, of course, my boss, our president, our leader, whose affinity with Borno is very well known. As you know, it was at one time military governor of Rwanda in the northeast, now about 6 states, including especially Borno. And the kind of reception he received only last Thursday in Maiduguri shows the kind of love and respect and faith and belief they have in our president. Now, we have write an autobiography. I think it was Winston Churchill who once said, "History will be kind to me," he said. And people say, why? He said, because I intend to write it. And therefore, in many ways, writing an autobiography is to ensure that at least you put on record some of your recollections, some of your experiences, some of your hopes and aspirations, some of the challenges that you have encountered along the way. And so, it's really a thing of pride that we are today gathered to celebrate not just Professor Gaitama, but the record of his achievement, the record of his struggle, the record of his difficulties along the way, the appreciation of his family, of his colleagues. But above all, the title of this book is very important. Standing for truth with courage. Those who willpower are indispensable to any society. For those who stand up for them are equally indispensable to society because that they help decide whether power will govern us or whether we will govern power. This book illustrates the importance of standing for truth and with courage. It is easy to go with the crowd It's easy to go with defeatism, but it's another thing entirely to stand for truth with courage and point the way for the better society. The greatest happiness of the greatest number of our people. That's what this book stands for. I'm not going to try to replicate the book reviewer. I would like to just conclude by saying that we are indeed going through difficult times in our country. Economic challenges, security challenges, even threats to our national unity. But let us recognize two things. First, that the whole world is going through enormous challenges. Terrorism, inequality, COVID complicated by COVID-19, which is not a respecter of persons or territories. So, Nigeria is part of the world. We are not spared of global challenges. But the way in which we are tackling them shows, and the leadership under which we operate shows that we shall indeed overcome. We are going to emerge from our challenges as more united, more peaceful, and more prosperous in the country. In the year 2050, God sparing our lives to witness it, or some of us witness it, or most of us should witness it, because we are a growing population. Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world after India and China. Which means if we keep united, if we keep building, if we keep overcoming our challenges, we cannot be ignored. We will not be able to be ignored by any other country in the world. We will be among the world's most powerful, most influential nations. And I'm convinced, not because I'm working currently, that under the leadership of our President Muhammadu Buhari, there's going to be a better future for Nigeria. Now, anyone who has tried to be president for 4 times before he succeeded in the 4th attempt and was re-elected for the 2nd time shows the kind of commitment he has for the people of this time. The commitment to the less privileged in this country. If you don't believe me, look at the crowd that received him in the Jubilee last Thursday. They are too big to be bought. They are too big to be induced, and they are certainly the crowd too big to be coerced. Now, he belongs to all of Nigeria. He has spent his life, I think he commanded almost all the divisions in the Nigerian army except one. He has been Minister of Petroleum, has been Governor of 6 states. There are very few people who are better prepared and certainly more committed than him to lead this country in the time of difficulties. We shall overcome underestimation. But we need to support it. The overcoming challenges of security, of the economy, of government is a collective responsibility. This is what this nation deserves. This is what this nation will achieve under its leadership with our support. I want to end by congratulating and commending the author of this book, and I want to, on behalf of all of us, wish Professor Emeritus Kazama many, many more years of dedication, many more years in good health, so that he will continue to serve the country which he loves, which is Nigeria. I mentioned that he mentioned that we were together in the 1970s in New York City, and we knew the struggles that we went through. And I appreciate the struggle that he went through, being a student without scholarship in Kansas, in the United States, in the 60s and 70s. So your hopes and aspirations, your vision, the catalog of your experiences are something that will be a role model for many and an inspiration for all. Thank you very much for this.
On behalf of the Kibri Post Students Association, We bring you fraternal greetings at this moment. We want to join others to celebrate you on this remarkable achievement. First, I think there are two things that you've done. You projected the alma mater, and then more important, you upheld the aspect that relates to light and truth. And second, I think the aspect that relates to courage is rooted in the last stanza of our anthem, which says, "May I run the race before me, and may I find courage to face the foe." And I think that you have done. On behalf of the Gabriel Students Association, we want to buy 100 books for our 2 schools and our e-library and secretariat. We are buying 100 books for 10,000 naira each. That is a round figure of 1 million.
Protocol. He has already told you my name, and I'm president of the Nigerian Academy of Science. With me here today is Professor Akwa Kasambo, my vice president, Professor Sale Mustafa, the executive secretary, the tallest man standing behind them. And then a very big fellow here, Professor Okoro, is a fellow of the Academy of Science. We all came here to honor, to celebrate, and to congratulate a very big fellow in the Academy. That's why we are all here. He has completed his autobiography and it is physically here. Some of us are still writing our autobiographies in our heads for many years. But he has now completed his and it is here. Professor Gazama has contributed significantly to science in the area of environmental science, biodiversity, climate change, desertification, and so on. He has also contributed to the academy, significant, and also to his community, I believe, from what I have heard about him. So, and this is something for the younger generations and generations unborn. The journalists tell us that what is not documented doesn't exist. So Professor Gazama has placed his name in the sands of time. I cannot be specific about the number of his mobile, neither can I be specific on the money it will amount to. But I know that we will buy copies of the book for our library, which is temporary in Lagos now, in our office in Lagos. But in some years to come, very soon, it will be permanently in our permanent site. We count on everybody to support us as we move to our permanent site. Thank you very much. I wish you all.
It's thereby follow. Perhaps we want to thank God Almighty of all the statements made earlier today in honor of Professor Emeritus Ida Gazama. We National Open University of Nigeria are the only institution that has been the pro-chancellor of. And when he was pro-chancellor, I was very lucky that I was a member of that council. So I have first-hand information about our author and narrator today. I didn't really hear it very well when praises were being made about him. That as the pro-chancellor of the newly resuscitated university, that was everybody. The National Open University of Nigeria, there is no resuscitated in 2003. And I was Professor Gazama was the first pro-chancellor to back a new university. The university is about 20 years old now, so we can only say that for the stewardship of Professor Emeritus Ida Gazama, the university perhaps will not be money again. So we want to thank you exceedingly well. I, as Vice Chancellor, want to say particular things that happened between Professor Gazama and myself. Around 2007-8, I was shocked by what we call attempted assassin on my way from the office. Would you believe that the humble chairman of council, so revered chairman of council, was the only person that came to see me, not in the hospital, but in my small flat in Lagos. Thank you very much, sir. The other thing we have not mentioned about the narrator is diplomacy. He is an extreme diplomat. And when you look at the title, it says standing for truth with courage. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. You must be diplomatic. And that's what our narrator today has been. We want to thank God for your life, for all your traverses in life, and what God has made you to be. A very humble person, even as high as he was when he was lost. On behalf of the Council of the National Open University of Nigeria and the Senate, we are getting the books for 500,000, and I will have one copy for myself at 50,000. Thank you very much.
We thank you all for coming, but first we have to thank the Almighty God. This book has been the combination of about 7 years really of work. I am the child that changed the heading, by the way. When in 2013 our father started writing this book, we thought in 1 year the book would be out. By the second year, no book. Third year, no book. Being a professor, you know he loves to write. And so, by the fourth year, the book had over 500 pages. And we started asking him, okay, sir, please start cutting back. Start removing things from the book. So I can assure you there will be a part 2 of this book. But this speaks to what our previous speakers have said. We need to record what we have in our hearts and in our minds. So, to cut this short, I would like to thank the distinguished Chief of Staff, President, His Excellency Ambassador Ibrahim Gambari, one of our father's true contemporaries, our Chairman, former Governor, His Excellency Kashim Shetty, the former Governor of Bauchi State, Adamu Muazu, former PDP Chairman, our representative of the Senate President, Senator Bello Mandia, our solid pillar that always supports the family, Professor Suleiman Bogoro. In fact, we believe he is actually an older because he is probably like our father's first son. And the Bosa collection is truly strong. Our very long-term family friend, Professor Abubakar Kudiri, chief presenter. Our chair of the organizing committee is Joshua Abba. Our very dogged publisher for Sahara Books, Mr. Olaimi. It's in here. Please, we have to cut out of the speech, but please can you stand for recognition? The publisher of Sahara Books. Okay. No. Distinguished family. I recognize all our family, all our community from Lassa, Askira, Borno State, the northeast of Nigeria. We appreciate your presence. Professors, we cannot thank you enough. All the professors that are here with us. The TechFund team, we appreciate you sincerely. We appreciate you for the work that you have done, the protocol, MC, to the hotel. 84, you have been wonderful. To our IT, to our musicians, we thank you very much. Now then in prayer, a prayer for the continuous strength and unity of the country. May the Almighty continue to make this country work stronger. May the Almighty take us back to our respective destinations. May we not hear of any issues on the way. May the Almighty replenish all that have donated, all that have come with goodwill. We are in a pandemic, so we value the presence that has been brought here more than even pre-pandemic when it could be a larger crowd. But we truly value your presence. And with this, I would like to say thank you to everybody that has been with us, everybody that has graced this occasion, and we pray that the Lord blesses you and guides you. Thank you, and we appreciate you.